The snow came suddenly like a thick white curtain pulled over the world, swallowing the quiet streets and the golden afternoon sunlight. I had been driving down the winding mountain road with Mrs. Camden, my best friend's mom, a woman I had always admired from afar, not just for her grace, but for the quiet strength she carried in every gesture. She was talking to me about the upcoming holiday party, about old recipes and childhood memories. When the sky darkened, the snowflakes thickened, and the wind began to howl. Within minutes, the roads vanished beneath a heavy white blanket, and panic crept into our conversation like a shadow. The tires skidded on the icy surface, and then, suddenly, we were stuck, completely stranded in the middle of nowhere with no cars passing, no cell phone signal, and the kind of silence that pressed against your ears and made your heartbeat echo. I remember the first time I truly saw fear in Mrs. Camden's eyes. She tried to mask it with a polite, calm smile, but the tremor in her hands as she gripped the steering wheel betrayed her. I told her not to worry, that help would come, but even as I said it, the truth was clear. Help might not come. Not today, not until this snowstorm passed. The panic settled into my chest like a heavy stone. That's when she looked at me and said, her voice low, almost a whisper, "I guess we'll have to keep each other warm." If you're watching this right now, pause and think for a moment. If you believe in kindness, in second chances, in the warmth of human connection, even in the coldest moments, please like, comment, share, and subscribe to our channel, Touch of Kindness, because sometimes that warmth can save more than your body. It can save your heart. The first hour was terrifying. Snow piled against the windshield like frozen waves. The heater sputtered and groaned, its warmth barely reaching our fingers, which we rubbed together frantically. I could see her shivering, her normally composed frame curled into itself, trying to preserve heat. I offered my jacket, then pulled her close under it, a little too close. But in that moment, it didn't feel strange or wrong. It felt human. It felt necessary. We shared quiet stories to distract ourselves, stories of childhood pranks, first crushes, and laughter that had the strange, magical ability to make the snowstorm outside seem less alive, less threatening. Hours passed, though I couldn't tell you how many. Time blurred in the white haze outside the car window. Our laughter dwindled into soft murmurs, then silence. The snow fell harder, and fear returned with a vengeance. I started pacing, though space was limited. I could feel Mrs. Camden's gaze on me, watching, worrying, understanding. She spoke about her late husband then, the father of my best friend, and I listened. She told me how she had always been afraid of storms, how they reminded her of nights when she felt completely alone, when grief had been like a storm in her chest. My own chest tightened, the honesty of her words cutting through me. She was opening herself up to me, this stranger she trusted, and I realized how fragile and brave we both were, sitting side by side in a snowed-in car, holding onto the warmth of human presence like a lifeline. As night fell, the temperature plummeted further. I could see our breath forming little clouds in the dim light. We moved closer, instinctively, our shoulders brushing. Mrs. Camden's hand found mine at one point. She didn't let go, and I didn't either. Words felt useless now. They couldn't match the intensity of the situation or the silent reassurance we were giving each other. I could see the raw fear in her eyes, but also something softer, a flicker of trust, a glimmer of something that reminded me that humans, when truly vulnerable, can form the strongest bonds. The wind outside battered the car like fists on a metal drum. I was shivering uncontrollably now, and so was she. "We have to stay awake," I said, trying to sound braver than I felt. "If we fall asleep, we could freeze." She nodded, her teeth chattering. That's when the thought struck me. In this moment, survival was more than just physical. It was emotional. We needed warmth, human warmth, the kind that blankets can't provide. And so, without thinking, we pressed closer, arms wrapped around each other, bodies trembling but gradually absorbing the heat we both so desperately needed. I could feel her heartbeat against my chest, steady and reassuring. I murmured small talk, any distraction I could think of, stories from school, funny incidents, recipes gone wrong. But soon even that fell away. There was just the sound of the storm outside, our breathing, and the quiet understanding between us. It was strange, overwhelming, and yet oddly comforting. Here we were, two people from entirely different worlds, stranded, alone, and yet completely together. In that snowstorm, in the freezing darkness, we found a connection deeper than words. By midnight, exhaustion began to set in. Our legs cramped, our backs ached, but neither of us wanted to risk letting go, not for a second. I whispered that I believed we'd make it through, though my own voice betrayed uncertainty. And then, suddenly, headlights appeared through the thick veil of snow. Relief washed over us like sunlight breaking through clouds. A snowplow had noticed our car and stopped. The operator came to help, chattering about how dangerous the roads were. As we stepped out into the blinding white, I realized just how much the hours we had spent clinging to each other had changed something inside me. Mrs. Camden laughed then, a shaky, beautiful sound, and I laughed too. It was the first time in hours that pure, unrestrained joy had broken through. "We survived," she said, gripping my arm. "I didn't think we would." I smiled, feeling a lump in my throat. I realized suddenly that this night would stay with me forever, not just as a memory of fear, but as a memory of trust, vulnerability, and warmth. The drive back to the city was quiet. We didn't need to fill the silence with words. There was an unspoken understanding, a sense of gratitude, and a bond that had formed under impossible circumstances. Mrs. Camden turned to me, her eyes soft and thoughtful. "Thank you," she said simply, "for everything. Tonight, you reminded me that human kindness, connection, it's what keeps us alive sometimes." I nodded, unable to respond properly, because words felt insufficient. The next day, as we recounted the story to my best friend, I realized how much that night had changed me. It wasn't just about surviving a snowstorm, it was about the fragile, fleeting moments when we allow ourselves to be seen completely, when we reach out and hold on to someone else in silence, letting warmth and trust bridge the gap between fear and hope. It made me see people differently, with more patience, more understanding, more willingness to extend my hand in times of need. If this story touched your heart, if you felt even a flicker of that warmth and connection, please take a moment to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Your support helps keep stories of kindness, courage, and humanity alive, and reminds us all that even in the coldest storms, there's warmth waiting if we reach for it. And before I end, a small request. If you've ever experienced a moment where someone's presence saved you, even just by being there, share it in the comments. Let's celebrate the invisible threads of kindness that tie us all together, the simple acts that change lives in ways we can't always measure. That night, the snowstorm became more than a memory of fear. It became a testament to human resilience, trust, and the simple power of connection. Mrs. Camden and I never forgot the warmth we shared, a warmth that outlasted the freezing night and stayed with us, quietly reminding us of the unexpected ways people can touch our lives. The world can be harsh, the storms can be relentless, but as long as there is someone willing to hold on, to share warmth in silence and presence, we are never truly alone. And as I sit here remembering it now, the wind softly tapping against the window, I smile. Because that night taught me something invaluable. Sometimes, the people we least expect to save us or to teach us are the ones we find beside us when the world turns cold, showing us that warmth isn't just in jackets or blankets, it's in the human heart.